Take 2 on my July wrap-up. Okay friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jules. I'm here to talk about the books that I read in July for the second time. I have already recorded my July wrap-up, and when I went to go edit it, half of the video clips, my voice did not match my lips. I don't even know how that happened. I don't remember what I said before on any of that, so we're just gonna roll with it. We're starting over. Let's talk about it. Quick stats before I go over the ratings. I read a total of 22 books. Total pages was 7,763, and my average rating of those 22 books was 3.73. Per usual, I'm not going to hold the books up. We're not going to get all that out. I'm just going to put a picture of the book up so that you can see what I am talking about. Okay. I am doing it a little different this time. Usually I just go lowest to highest. I'm still kind of going to do that, but I'm going to do it based on the vlogs I did and or genres. That way if the books were in a vlog, that they're all together and I can just reference you back to that vlog to get all my thoughts on those books instead of me sitting here and telling you all about those again. You can get more detailed just going back to my vlogs. Okay, let's start with the cozies I read. Most of the books I read in July were cozies and thrillers. So I had 2 cozy mystery vlogs. The first one is where I read the first in a cozy mystery series of my mother's books that I have. So in order from lowest to highest, I have coming in at 2 stars, Murder in the Mystery Suite by Ellery Adams. 3-star was Lending a Paw by Lori Cass. And then I had a 4-star read was Curses Boiled Again by Sherry Randall. The second cozy mystery vlog I did was a Christmas in July cozy mystery. I had really good reads for this. So I had 3 4-stars and 1 5-star for this. So my 4-star reads were Saddled with Murder by Eileen Brady. This was the first book I've read by this author and I really liked it. Another 4-star was Christmas Cookie Murder by Leslie Meyer, obviously one of my favorite authors. Had a great time with it. Then my other 4-star was Murder at the Christmas Cookie Bake Off by Darcy Hannah. This was the second in the series. I've already read the first and the third. Gonna continue in the series for sure. And then my 5-star Christmas cozy was 12 Sleighs of Christmas by Jacqueline Frost. This was a really good time. It has all the Christmas vibes. So highly recommend picking actually all of these up this Christmas season. So again, those 2 vlogs, I will have them linked in the description. Head over there and you can get all my thoughts about these books. For Hannah's book club, I read Secret Book and Scone Society by Ellery Adams. I gave this one 3 stars, kind of probably maybe more 3.5 after we had the discussion of it. So this is set in Miracle Springs, North Carolina. It's kind of a quirky little town. So there's a group of ladies who have formed a secret book club, if you will. They're also trying to solve this murder together that happens. But our main character, Nora, she has a bookshop called Miracle Books. And she has a way of, when her customers come in, they kind of talk to her and tell her kind of like what's going on in their life or whatever. And she has a way of directing them to the right book that's going to help kind of probably like heal their soul. So I just thought that was really interesting. So she comes along a guy out on a bench and he's on a business trip here in town. He's due to meet up at a meeting, but he's just kind of down. And so she invites him to come to the bookstore so she can try and find him a book. He never makes it because he's murdered. So then basically all of the girls kind of get together to try and solve his murder. It's more of just a meeting where they like in secret go over the notes because they're trying to solve this murder together. And in the process of it, they all end up opening up to each other and sharing stories about their past that, you know, either may have caused them some type of drama or setback in their life or things they may have been ashamed of. And so they're just learning to trust each other and form like new friendships with each other. It definitely has some heavier topics. It's not really cozy topics, but it still was a very enjoyable book. So I read No Good Tea Goes Unpunished by Bree Baker. I gave this 4 stars. So in this is the second book in the series. We are following Everly. So in the first book, Everly opens a seaside cafe. It's a tea shop and cafe. And in that one, she's a suspect in a murder and has to clear her name. And there's a new hunky detective that she starts hanging around. Anyway, in the second book, she is catering a wedding for her, like a childhood friend of hers. And the groom ends up dead, and there is a lot of guests and several people that could be the murderer. So things aren't looking so great for her friend because it looks like she could have possibly murdered him. So they had already gotten married. So it was at the wedding reception. So it wasn't looking too good because it looks like she could have maybe killed him for his fortune. And she knows her friend didn't do it. So she obviously has to find out who really did do it. So she does her investigating to clear her friend's name. Really good time. So that is it for my cozies. So moving on to some of the thrillers, I did a Summerween vlog. So in that vlog, I read 4 thrillers. I had 2 3-stars, a 4-star, and a 5-star. So my 3-star read was There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, and The Summer She Went Missing by Chelsea Acaso. My 4-star read was Gray After Dark by Noelle Eiley. And my 5-star read was Summer's Edge by Dana Melly. I don't really know. Anyway, this was my first time reading from any of these authors, and I had a pretty good time with them. 3 average on a couple of them, and then 4 and 5 stars. That's really good. So I would consider reading from any of these authors again. Moving on. Now we're going to do 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Both of my 2 stars are in a vlog. It just so happened that they both are in this vlog. So I had a vlog reading books I did not think I would like, and turns out I didn't really like them. So in that vlog, so you can head to that vlog to get my thoughts on these. So the 2 books I read for that were Shark Heart by Emily Haybeck and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And then I had a 3-star read with, which was kind of disappointing, but Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I just did not, I think I just had, this was just too hyped for me. I think the hype was so big on this that everybody thought this was going to be great. This was the first time that he had a male main character. It just didn't do it for me. So our main male character is Ethan, and when he was a kid, when he was 10 years old, his friend came and they had a sleepover in the backyard, and the tent got sliced open and his friend was missing. So we get the little history of what happened with that. And then 30 years later, Ethan is back in his childhood home. His parents are thinking about selling the house, so he is there, and strange things start happening. So he starts hearing things and seeing things like baseballs rolling through the yard. He ends up getting cameras. He thinks that possibly the ghost of his friend Billy is haunting him, and he wants to get to the bottom of it and see if he can figure out what happened to Billy. So he starts doing some interviewing and investigating of everything that happened when he was a kid to see if he could figure out what happened. And I mean, it was just okay. Like I said, I did not care for the reveal of what really happened. I just thought it just kind of fell flat for me. So I was not a big fan. I was not a big fan of this, unfortunately. Now, don't get me wrong. I will always pick up a Riley Sager book because majority of his books I have loved. But this one did not do it for me. Okay, moving on to my 4-star reads. I read One Left Alive by Helen Pfeiffer. And this is a detective, like a serial killer detective book. And I really enjoyed it. I decided to pick this up because I had read an e-arc from this author. I think it might have been last month or the month before. And I really had a good time with it. So I decided I wanted to check out some more of her books. So we are following along Detective Morgan Brooks. And she is on this case. She gets called in. A woman is found hanging from a tree. And then when they get inside the house, they find that her whole family has been murdered in the basement. So they don't know if she did it and then killed herself, or if somebody killed all of them and staged things. One of the children is alive, but she's obviously not talking because she's in the hospital in a coma. So basically Detective Morgan has to go, try. So we're following her as she's trying to figure this out. And we learn that so many years previous, there was also another family murder in this house. So she's trying to piece together how, the odds of this happening again and if they're connected somehow. So I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun time. So she has another series that is the Detective Maria Miller series. The first book in that is The Haunting of West 10th Street. I have not read that one yet, but I did read the second book in that, which was an e-arc. And then I just read the third book in that series. But that series is more of a paranormal serial killer type vibe, and I really like it as well too. So she has a lot of different series, and I'm planning on checking out more of her books because I have a good time with them. My next 4-star is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I had no intentions of picking this up. Gwen loved this book, was talking about it, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna add this to my list. And then I ended up winning the Survivor Redemption Island Challenge last month, and this is the book that she gifted me for that. So I was gonna buddy read it with Wendy to find out that some other girls in Gwen's Patreon were also reading it, so we kind of just did a big buddy read of that. So I had a really good time with it. This book is spicy, so there are some spicy scenes in it. So if it is not your thing, then it is not the book for you. But we are following so this is the first in the Lakefront Billionaires series, and we are following Dahlia and Julian. And Dahlia is an interior designer, and she just got basically dumped by her fiance, and she was on a DIY show, a DIY interior design show, but her ex-fiance's parents were in charge of kind of like the production of that show. So she's kind of wondering like where her job is going to go. So she moves back home, take a little break, try and figure out what she's going to do, and insert Julian, who is the son of her mother's best friend. So their parents are best friends. So obviously they know each other, and they grew up knowing each other, and the families are close, and they have some tension, and the parents kind of like scheme together to kind of get them to work on a project together. So for both of their businesses. So they team up to work on this project. And of course, like I said, there's a lot of tension building between them. And yeah, it's good. It's really good. I had a fantastic time with it. I'm definitely going to continue in the series. And then my last 4-star that I picked up was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I read this for a buddy read in Gwen's Patreon, so it was just an extra buddy read that we're doing. So we're going to be reading one book a month in the series until we get that completed. So I had a pretty good time with this. I feel like I'm not the best at like puzzles or riddles or things like that. So I feel like if I was good at that, then I would probably have enjoyed this more. But we are following Avery, and Avery lives with her sister. There's no parents around. Her sister's older, but Avery finds out that this man she does not know, Tobias Hawthorne, who is a billionaire, ends up leaving his entire estate to her, with the exception of he gives his family some things, but leaves pretty much the entire estate to her. And she doesn't know why, and the family doesn't know why, and it seems like it's a very big puzzle. All of the family members are given like letters. They have like clues in them, and they have to kind of piece it together and figure out what's going on. There are 4 brothers, which are the grandchildren of this man, but there are also like their mom. So they all have different dads. So they have the same mom, all had different dads. None of the dads are in the picture. So they all live at this estate. And one of the stipulations of her inheritance is that she has to live at this estate for a year. So her and her sister move in. It's a little awkward at first. She has a security team now that's in charge of keeping her safe so that, in case anyone tries to kill her. And anyway, she just spends majority of the time talking with the different brothers, and their figuring them out and their personalities. And the Hawthorne estate is amazing. There's like, there's an arcade, there's a bowling alley, there's a gym with a rock climbing wall, like all the fun stuff that anyone would love to have in an estate. So it was a really good time. I had fun with it. So I'm excited to continue reading that with the Patreon girls. And finally, getting to my 5-star reads. The first one is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I have been meaning to pick this up forever. It has been on my shelf for a long time. But so it is true when everybody was saying it's like a Criminal Minds, but with teenagers, it very much is. So we are following 17-year-old Cassie, and she is really good at reading people. So the FBI reaches out to her and asks her to be in this classified program that helps solving cold cases. So she would actually have to move into this house. So she moves into this house with all these other teenagers around her age, and they all have similar things. Like, they are very good at profiling people. They have different ways that they profile people, but as a group, they feel like they can like help them solve these cold cases. In the midst of working on these cold cases, they are not allowed to work on active cases, but there is an active serial killer. And the scenes are very similar to the murder of her mother, of Cassie's mother. So she is very much wanting to help them with their active serial killer case. And they're like, no, you're on cold cases. And so she tries to find a way around that and basically goes kind of on her own, doing her own little investigating to help see if she can figure out and catch this killer. It is very good. And I am definitely going to continue in the series. Had a great time with it. And then my second 5-star was The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I had heard good things about this book. Like, Liv and Kendall had said they read it and they loved it. And I was like, okay, I need to pick that up. And I had put it on hold on Libby, and it just came up. And it wasn't on my list to read this past month, but I read it anyway. And I had a great time with it. So we're following Belle. Belle's mother disappeared. Belle's mother is Rachel. She disappeared when Belle was like 4 years old. They were out at the mall, and Belle got found. They found Belle in the car all by herself. Her mother was nowhere to be found. Disappeared. There is a filmmaker who is doing a true crime documentary about her disappearance. So he is obviously in town, and he is interviewing all of their friends, family, anybody related, like at her school, anywhere, anyone that she knows. Basically, they're here, and they're following Belle. They're taking her back to try and recreate like what the scene would have looked like. In the midst of this filming, her mother comes back. So that's why it is called The Reappearance of Rachel Price, because her mom comes back. So Rachel tells this story about what happened to her and where she thinks she's been, but she doesn't know who took her or where she's been at. And Belle basically just wants to reinsert herself into the life, and go from there. And of course, Belle's lived her whole life with her dad, so it's just very kind of awkward. There's some tension. She's not sure she believes her. So we just follow Belle. Belle's like, I'm going to get some answers about what happened to her. So we follow Belle as she uncovers and asks all these questions and tries to figure out what happened to her mom, and why if she left on her own and just now came back, or if she really was taken and what happened. So I really had a good time with it. I couldn't put it down, and I just flew through it. So very good book. Then my last 5-star is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I loved this book. I actually have a summer romance vlog coming out in the next few days that I will be posting. So I'm not going to really go a lot into that because I will have that on that vlog. But basically, we follow a couple that is pretending to be married. They are actually married on paper. They got married for convenience, for college housing. And then the guy is very wealthy, from a very wealthy family, and she is not. His family wants proof that he's been married this whole time, and asked him to go on this trip with him to his sister's wedding on this all-inclusive paid bougie vacation, and she has to pretend that they have been married this whole time, and when they have not been together. They've been married on paper but not been together. So it is a lot of fun. The main character, she is so funny. There is foul language in this, so if that is not your cup of tea, not the book for you. But I just laughed. She is hysterical. Her humor Her humor and her little remarks that she makes just had me giggling. And the tension, their physical tension and attraction when they're there at this vacation is hot. It's on point. This is also a very spicy book too. So if that also is not your cup of tea, not the book for you. I love the way Christina Lauren writes. They're like the dream team. They really are. This is only my second book by them, and I loved the first one I read. Loved this one. Had a really great time. So, author for them for sure. And I now want to go back and read their backlist books. So that is my wrap up, friends, for July. I had a great reading month. I'm already having a great reading month in August. I am mood reading in August. So if you haven't watched my TBR video for August yet, head over there. You can kind of see what I am picking up this month. So let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite read in July? And until my next video, friends, be yourself, be awesome, be kind. Bye.